It is now being introduced. It has been reviewed by the Shade Tree Committee, and this actually would make it easier to deal with, and the Shade Tree Committee is on board. Eric, that is correct. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So we can move on it this evening. What we have is the revised one. Any questions on it? If not,
We're just reintroducing it because there were
substantive administrative changes, but it's actually a better ordinance. Thanks for work.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
The second item is liquor license renewal. There was one license that had been, because of a transfer of ownership, been on odd interim order, which means that it was only good for 30 days. But it's been cleared because the state finally cleared the change of ownership, so that is on the agenda. It was not on the actual printed agenda, but that came at the last minute. So to avoid a problem, we're just going to move it this evening. Any problems or questions? No. All good. The third is the Red Bank Public School request. That is dated July 26th. It came from the superintendent, and it is asking us to waive our ordinance that does not permit certain types of construction on Sunday and Saturday. And the reason is so that we can get the project finished and underway before the commencement of the year. It's been reviewed by the chief as well as the construction official, and they are recommending we move forward. Any questions or any problems with anybody? If not, it'll be added to the agenda. Anything else for workshop? If not, let's move to approval of the minutes. There are none. Mayoral appointments. There are going to be some appointments made to the Animal Welfare Advisory Committee that I had asked people to submit names to, and they're still coming in, but we got to appoint a committee. So let's appoint the committee and then appoint any other volunteers that may want to serve. So on the committee, to the Animal Welfare Advisory Committee, pays nothing. The following people are appointed, and they will choose their own chair. Pat Pinto, Suzanne Descovy, Amber Graves, Violet Savage, Nick Limbesis, Grace Sapphire, Gary Sapphire, Pamela Bocaturo, and Deborah Marks. Motion to confirm.
So
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's right. Well, yeah. I didn't know if we were going to bring it up. We can bring it up. That's fine. There is a request by the residents of East Leonard Street for a block party on August 6th from 1 to 8 p.m. on East Leonard Street between the intersection of Bridge to the dead end to the railroad tracks, subject to approval and review by the police department or special events. Anybody have any problem with moving that administratively? No. Okay. So motion to approve? Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, nothing else to be added. Then communications and petitions, request from Daniel Mark Johnson, Premier of Quebec. I thought he died. Oh, this is a joke, yeah. There used to be a Daniel Mark Johnson who was Premier of Quebec. And Christopher Palma for membership in Navasink Hook and Ladder Company of the Red Bank Volunteer Fire Department. Commissioner? So moved. Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Any members of the public have any questions on any ordinances or resolutions on this evening? Ms. Burnham? Which one?
Good evening. Cindy Burnham, 71 Wallace Street. I just wanted to make a comment.
Which one are you addressing?
I'm going to tell you. I just wanted to comment on ordinance 21, 22, and 23.
Well, we're going to have a public hearing on that.
Oh, those
So you
are
can
for
comment,
public?
yeah.
Oh,
right.
okay.
So why don't you, so that's why I said which one. Well, you're going to have an opportunity to comment during the public hearing. Anybody else? If not, motion to close. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Ordinances for first reading would be ordinance 2017-20, an ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 665 regarding trees to include additional regulations regarding to trees located on borough property and borough right-of-way, and it's a reintroduction of what we had introduced for changes that are were recommended, I should say, by the planner and reviewed by the Shade Tree Commission. Motion to introduce. So moved. Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Public hearing will be August the 9th at 6:30 p.m. Ordinance 2017-25, an ordinance amending Chapter 680 vehicles and traffic to exclude trucks over 13 tons from Bridge Avenue. This is what we discussed in workshop. It comes with the recommendation of the police department and has been reviewed by us before. So is there a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing will be August the 9th, 2017 at 6:30 p.m. Ordinance 2017-26, an ordinance authorizing the leasing of certain capital equipment by the Borough of Red Bank. This is pursuant to the Monmouth County Improvement Authority and the execution of a lease and agreement related thereto for borough equipment. Motion to introduce. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing will be August the 9th at 6:30 p.m. And ordinance 2017-27, an ordinance authorizing the leasing of certain capital equipment by the Borough of Red Bank from the Monmouth County Improvement Authority and the execution of a lease agreement relating thereto for police vehicles. Motion to introduce. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing will be on August the 9th, 6:30 p.m. And lastly, ordinance 2017-28, an ordinance authorizing the guarantee of the Borough of Red Bank for the payment of principal and interest on the capital equipment lease revenue bond series 2017 for the Red Bank project of Monmouth County Improvement Authority. This is pursuant to the FCIA grant. Motion to introduce. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Now, on ordinances for public hearing and final adoption, we have ordinance 2017-19, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 490 regarding planning and development regulations relating to the restoration of non-conforming structures. And this is the ordinance that was introduced that permits individuals who have a pre-existing non-conforming structure, as long as it is fire-related, gutted, to be able to restore that, even though it is a non-conforming use, as long as it's the same footprints and doesn't have to go before the zoning board. Any members of the public wish to be heard on this ordinance? I don't see any. Motion to close. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion to adopt. Second. Roll call.
Councilman Yangstrom?
Yes.
Councilman Zipperich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schwabenbauer?
Yes.
Councilman Taylor?
Yes.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted. Ordinance 2017-21, a bond ordinance providing for various improvements by the water and sewer utility of the Borough of Red Bank, and the issuance of approximately $600,000 in bonds to finance the cost thereof. Any members of the public wish to be heard on this ordinance? Cindy, did you want to?
No, I'm going to comment on
Okay. Motion to close. Second. All in favor? Motion to adopt. Second. Roll call.
Councilman Yangstrom?
Yes.
Councilman Zipperich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schwabenbauer?
Yes.
Councilman Taylor?
Yes.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes. The ordinance is adopted. Ordinance 2017-22, a bond ordinance providing for various roadway improvements by the Borough of Red Bank, appropriating $1,250,000 and including $240,000 in NJDOT Municipal Aid Program grant, and authorizing the issuance of $947,500 in bonds to finance the cost of same. Any members of the public wish to be heard on this? This is a public hearing on it. Not, motion to close. Second. All in favor? Motion to adopt. Second. Roll call.
Councilman Yangstrom?
Yes.
Councilman Zipperich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schwabenbauer?
Yes.
Councilman Taylor?
Yes.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes. The ordinance is adopted. Ordinance 2017-23. A bond ordinance providing for various improvements by the parking utility in the Borough of Red Bank, appropriating $300,000 and authorizing the issuance of $300,000 bonds to finance the cost of those improvements. Any members of the public wish to be heard on this particular ordinance? Ms. Burton.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Oh, no, wait a
Go ahead.
minute. Okay. I'm just wondering, $300,000 for various parking improvements. What are the parking
Old
improvements?
Street lot.
Gold Street lot, okay.
Yeah,
And
it's behind Monmouth Street on those
I know.
designated spots, yeah.
it's not White Street.
No, it's not, I think we've answered that. a few
We
times.
did that at the last meeting, you're
Yeah,
absolutely
it's
right.
strictly Gold Street, yeah.
But you know, when you do these various improvements, it might be good if you could state a few things, what these various improvements are, just so other people know. Just a
Yeah.
thought.
Cindy, I can clarify that for you. The improvements.
Because I read the resolution.
It's for the removal and replacement of sidewalks, concrete curbing, curb ramps, driveway aprons, regrading, landscaping, excavation, pavement striping, installation of traffic calming devices, and resetting the manholes, the inlets, and various other curb, sidewalk, and parking lot maintenance.
Thank you.
Okay, does that help?
Yep, that's perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other members of the public wish to be heard on this? If not, motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right, motion to adopt,
So moved.
second, roll call.
Councilman Youngster?
Yes.
Councilman Zipperich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan? Yes. Councilwoman Schwabenbauer? Yes. Councilman Taylor?
Yes.
Councilman Wyler?
Yes. The ordinance is adopted. Ordinance 2017-24, an ordinance amending Chapter 352 regarding fiber optic cables to comply with the provisions of NJSA 54:38-24. We've talked about this before. Any members of the public wish to be heard on this? Not. Motion to close. Second. All in favor? Motion to adopt. Second. Roll call.
Councilman Youngster?
Yes.
Councilman Zipperich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan? Yes. Councilwoman Schwabenbauer? Yes. Councilman Taylor?
Yes.
Councilman Wyler?
Yes. The ordinance is adopted. Resolutions, we will move by consent agenda in terms of 17-169 up to and including 177 unless anybody wants to pull it for whatever reason.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to acknowledge Cindy Zip from
Yes.
Clean Ocean Action, who's here.
Ms. Clean Ocean Action is here.
Resolution 171. So I just wanted to thank her for all her efforts in helping us with the Madison Group and Municipality Committee. She's doing a great job. We're actually doing, Red Bank has been doing a great job in cleaning up and making sure that the contaminants from our town are not running into the river. So just like to thank Cindy for being here and for her support.
And for her volunteer support and for all her activity, not just in Red Bank, but throughout the entire affected area. So I don't know where we'd be without them. So thank you. Okay, so I hear no objections. So is there a motion to move 17-169 through and including 17-177?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Then we get to 17-174, a resolution determining portions of the borough and the area in need of rehabilitation. This has been reviewed. It has also been reviewed by the planner and also by the planning board. The planning board has sent a recommendation of favorable action by the council, and they believe that they would like to work on this in terms of improving some of the areas and the properties in that designated zone. Is there a motion? So moved. Second? All in favor? Any opposed?
Mayor, I just have one quick question on that. Does it, as it pertains to historic preservation?
Yes.
As you know,
You are a
I'm always
preservationist.
concerned about preserving the borough, and because this area is quite large, are there provisions, I know in reading some of the minutes from the planning board meeting, are there provisions that will protect anything that is on the historic inventory?
Well, first of all, anything that is on our local inventory of historically designated or protected sites will be subject to the review by the Historic Preservation Commission and also for comment. But in any event, they would get copies and also any application that is submitted. And right now, there are no design characteristics or standards that are applicable. So the planning board would be working on that. I can assure you the planning board does have members who are concerned about that if the structure is in that zone that is historically significant or architecturally significant. The planning board has talked about it, but in general, our ordinance that we have, it's a historic preservation ordinance, is site specific, so that would protect any property that is in any of those zones.
Thank you.
That's a good question. Okay, any other questions? If not, I guess it's been approved already. Resolution 17-175, approving rights of way use agreements with Cross River Fiber for the installation of fiber optic cables on existing utility poles and public right of way. Is there a motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? There are no proclamations right here. Well, no, I don't think we need a resolution. Okay. Is there a motion to permit the construction pursuant to what we discussed in the workshop pursuant to Dr. Rummidge's July 26, 2017 request? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, done. And
Larry, you
finally,
can get out there and paint.
resolution 178, right. Be it resolved by the mayor and council, the bills be paid on the attached check registry totaling $3,711,038.78. Motion? Second. All in favor? Any old business? Any new business?
Mayor, just a couple of, since we updated the reports tonight, I just wanted to mention from River Center that the Indie Street Film Festival has started tonight. This weekend is the 63rd annual sidewalk sale is happening this weekend. Parking is free, Friday through Sunday. And New Jersey Family Magazine just named Red Bank the best downtown in the state, known for its great historic and bustling downtowns. This Monmouth County gem stands out for its arts and theater scene and diverse mix of restaurants and shops. Red Bank is also a favorite for its gorgeous views of the Navasink River that can be taken in from the waterfront hotels like the Molly Pitcher at Oyster Point. Affectionately dubbed a cool little town by some locals, Red Bank attracts people from all over the state who come for dinner and a show at Count Basie Theater, Two River Theater. Visitors love its independent stores like Earth Spirit and Kevin Smith's J.S. Silent Bob Secret Stash, a mecca for comic book lovers. We beat out Westwood and Morristown. They were on the runner side. Pride.
Anything else under old business by anybody? Any new business by anybody? Audience? Ms. Burnham. Go ahead, come on. I called you first. Come on, let's go, ladies. Ms. Burnham, the last time I checked, I was running the show.
Okay. I just didn't want to take up. I'm not, but.
Actually, you were the council president for a year.
Yes. Hello? I heard an idea today, and I wanted to share it with you all, although I think you've already heard it, and it's pertaining to parking. It has to do with ground lease to a parking lot operator. And this would be, you would take the permit parking out of White Street, of course, and put them over on the east side, so the RBC and all the permit parking would be over on the east side, and then you would divide the parking lot in half, and you would lease, you would put out an RFP and lease half of the parking lot to a valet service. And they would be in charge of maintaining it, striping it, lights, security, etc. And they would lease it from the borough. So we would charge them to lease it. And we could probably lease it for more than what we get now. And we wouldn't lose revenue because you'd have the permit parking people over at the east side. But, you know, a lot of people are talking about parking studies. So you have the valet guys, and if they're busy, you know, we can always, well, these are just things to think about, you know, I'm thinking out of the box. You can always put one of those high-rise, what do you call them? They lift your car up. You know what I'm talking about. Car lift, right. If it was really busy, and that would double the parking in that lot. And then we would know we definitely have a need. If these people, after 5 years, find that, you know, they're not doing a good business because that's how long the lease would be, then we would also know the need for parking in regards to that. So the operator would be paying Red Bank more than what we get now. It would kind of provide a parking study. And we could do it now and have extra parking by by Christmas, whereas a garage or any kind of development is going to take years. So I heard this plan, and I thought I'd just pass it on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Carl?
Well, I can do it from here. You skipped
No, you
over-
can't because we need you on tape.
All right.
Exercise is good, Carl.
Yeah, I know, I need it.
No, I was
Carl
not
Cole,
suggesting
67
that.
Oakland Street. I'd like to know why we skipped over reports of council members tonight?
You did. That's why I said anything under old business, they could do it, or any,
Oh, I didn't-
that's what Councilman Zipper
Oh, so
said.
nobody else has any reports tonight?
Well, they could.
Okay, that's all I asked. I know it's on the agenda, and I didn't see you follow it.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yes, Ben?
Ben Parr, 16 Locust Avenue, Red Bank, New Jersey. Actually, I just wanted to see if there was any parking update from our parking committee, since seems like a interesting topic is the whole parking proposal. To see, I didn't hear any mention of it tonight. And so, since we're not doing reports, I was wondering if Mr. Whalen had anything he could update us on.
Mayor, I'll pass that torch to you because I know that you had sent out an email regarding.
There is no update.
Good answer.
Yes, Mr. Scone. You're not going to tell me you're not going to serve on that committee, are you?
No, question. Well, 25 Cedar Street now. Moves again. So they moved. We have, I saw we had an old water meter. And then I called up and questioned it, actually get the second, because one of the great ideas of having the water meters changed was to have a separate one for sprinklers. So you weren't getting charged for the sewage because the sprinklers are going into the grass. And they said that that wasn't possible yet. So I was just wondering what the status of that was.
Stanley, why don't you
Yes.
address that?
We are contemplating doing that, but we want to get all our meters in first, and then we have to evaluate what the impact of going to a separate metering system would be. The sewer charges, in that sewer charge, you're also paying for stormwater as well as sanitary sewers for the maintenance. That's how we charge for that. So before we isolate or take that charge away, we have to see what the impact, how many people are interested in lawn sprinklers, what the impact would be on the budget, because we still have to pay the sewer bills. We have to pay for the treatment, we have to pay for all this work that we're doing before we do a road program with the water utility, pay for the upgrades or fixing of any storm sewers. So it's not just the sewage that goes to the toilet, it's also the sewage that runs down the gutter, or the lawn sprinklers that go down the driveway and into the gutter. We have to take care of that sewer system too.
All right, with all due respect, Stanley, and it's probably not the time to get into a diatribe on that, but I do recall having sat up here for a long period of time, and I see other people in the audience shaking their heads as to what they think I'm going to say. But the raison d'etre, French word, of the introduction of the new the new meters, one of the arguments was, for months on end, when we were debating it ad infinitum, and Councilman DuPont was sitting where Councilwoman Schwabenbauer was, and I distinctly remember he asked a number of times, and the answer that was given, the answer that was proffered, that this new system would create the opportunity for homeowners who had irrigation systems to have a separate meter and to have a separate meter installed so that they would not be charged the excess that would go into the charge format that was strictly for irrigation. That was repeated over and over and over and over and over again. And now, for me to hear that there might be a different interpretation, I, for
But
one, cannot accept it.
There's no different interpretation. It's just we want to complete the meter project and get a complete 100% electronic metering of the system, so we can determine the methodology or the next step with doing the lawn sprinklers. And that was discussed with Finance and the Public Works Committee. We did bid unit pricing for that. We were prepared to go forward with it, but the concept is get 100% of the metering, see where we have accounted for water, unaccounted for water, get a good sense of how this will work, and then come up with a plan for the additional metering. But we don't have every house meter, every building meter with the electronic system yet. So as soon as we get 100%, then we can go back and start the new step, the next step of doing the lawn sprinklers.
There was even a quote of $1,500 for the new meter for the irrigation system. And frankly, I'm not going to mention names, but a couple of people in this room said that they were interested in signing up as soon as the new meter was on.
Mayor, the Public Works Committee at the time requested that the reverse meters be bid as an alternate when we would have to bid on this. And the committee at that point in time was waiting for us to do the installation, or we're still waiting for the installation to be complete. And at last week's DPW meeting, the director announced that there were just a little over 600 meters left to be replaced borough-wide. And I think that once we conclude that, Stanley can go forward with.
Yeah, no, I respect that. I have no problem with that. In other words, I understand that you have to finish the system before you get it. But I heard a little narrative that we will analyze and we will study, and that wasn't part of the equation. It was, we're definitely going to do it. That's what I heard. Thank you.
If we have 600 meters left to do, what is the estimated time that is completed?
We're working on that now. The 600 that we have to do, the reason there's 600 is because people are not responding to our request to get in to install those meters. So we're in the process now of going to the next step of doing hand tags. And one method of getting their attention is to threaten to terminate service. Another method might be to, under the ordinance, cite them for failure to provide access for the utility to get to the equipment. So we're working on that, those next steps now. We're trying to reconcile that list to ensure that 600 plus list is accurate. Because there have been some meters that have been removed due to construction, some meters that were shut down because of sales, and et cetera. And once we get that accurate list, we're actually going forward with these next notices that if you don't contact us to get the meters, give us access, then we'll take the next steps to either enforcement or shut off.
No, I'm just, like I said, I just brought the issue up because you remember in 2012, there was many people complaining about the grass, and it's always a hot topic at the debate, the cost of our water. So, one of the pluses are like, oh, we got a water system, this is great, let me call out to town and say, let me get that second meter, it's worth the investment. As you said, Mayor, there was a cost, an estimated cost, obviously, already tagged for this option. So it's kind of disheartening that, again, we're taking a long time to do things, just like we're taking a long time to finish the emergency road behind the primary school. And we're waiting on, I know Cindy did a lot of work when she was on the dais for the, what is it, the rules? What was the thing you worked on about the signs? And I know we're still waiting on more information 2 council meetings ago from Mr. Taylor regarding ordinances. Right. So, but my point is, we want to do a lot for this town. There's a lot we want to accomplish, and that's great. However, could we try to finish a couple things first? That's my point.
Thank you.
Suzanne, did you say that your meter has not been replaced?
As far as I know, I only lived there for 1 week, and they put my water meter on, and that they said it's the old meter.
Right.
So I'll contact them myself.
I'll let Bobby Holiday know to reach out to you.
That'd be great.
So that you get the new meter installed.
Thank you.
Okay.
Dr. Romich.
Thank you. Jared Rumage, Superintendent of Schools, Red Bank Borough. Thank you for approving our request to paint the Red Bank Middle School. I will not be doing it myself next Sunday, but I do appreciate it. I apologize for the late request. It just came across, the problem just came across my desk earlier today, and I appreciate you handling that this evening. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Board of Education, our leadership team, our instructional staff, our parents, families, and our students specifically, to publicly inform you that on July 14th, Friday, I received notification from the Department of Education that we will have $512,000 added to our 2017-18 budget cycle, which is a great win for us. On July 18th, Tuesday, at our Board of Education meeting, we accepted these monies. And as many of you may be aware, we are short approximately 24 staff members, give or take, depending on the way you look at it. And we're going to be able to utilize these monies to add at least 7 staff members to our instructional staff this year to fortify our ESL programming, our special ed programming, our general education, and we are very excited about that. Of course, this is a battle that's been going on for nearly a decade, and it's amazing that we now have this opportunity. I want to thank the council, the mayor, all of you as individuals and also as a collective group for what you have done to support us as we fought for this fair funding for our school district. This is not enough. It's a step in the right direction in the 17-18 school year, and I think will lead to a more sustainable school funding approach in the future. We're very proud of what we've been able to accomplish over the past 3 years that I've been a part of the school district, but I can tell you right now, we have not even scratched the surface. This is just the beginning. The day I leave Red Bank Borough as superintendent, I expect to be thoroughly exhausted, devoid of any energy, because I'm serious about chasing and providing for this community the best school district in America. I'm excited to be able to add additional staff to our school district, and on behalf of everybody that's a part of our school community, I thank you for your continued support and all that each of you have done to help us garner this additional money for our school district. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jared, I just wanted to thank you. Your enthusiasm, your energy level to support our school kids and the faculty has been extraordinary. It has been my pleasure to work with you and fight shoulder to shoulder. I know Assemblywoman Downey and Assemblyman Vitale really went to bat for us. It's a great. It's just great that $512,000 more is coming into the borough, and we'll continue to fight that fight with you as we go forward.
John Gosden, 43 Harrison Avenue. I just have a couple of questions and a couple of thoughts. One, I want to thank Cindy from Clean Water Action. I think that's a phenomenal thing for the river, for the town. And I know we have a lot of talk about adding residential things and parking and everything, and I'm just really concerned if our infrastructure and our sewage pipes can handle additions to it, and if we have plans going forward to address that, because I'm not, as a resident, I'm not against hearing about a parking garage, adding new residential buildings, but from my own personal experience, and if you want me to go into that, I'll take about a half an hour. I think our infrastructure is very old and poor, and it really needs to be addressed before we add more parking, more resident, and more residential things.
You're absolutely correct, John, and you are correct. And I don't think anybody at this dais will disagree with your assessment and your premise. The only difference is that there are two ways to do those particular types of infrastructures. I keep on joking that we have sewer pipes that were built in the Johnson administration, but that was Andrew Johnson and not Lyndon Johnson. And they keep on bursting all the time. Surprise. And every time they burst, as Councilman Zipperich will tell you, it's the most inconvenient time, and normally on a holiday weekend, and normally
and it costs
at rush hour.
$1,000.
Right, and they cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we do have an aging infrastructure. We've always recognized that every governing body is recognized, every member of the council is recognized, and so we do have an improvement program that is publicly funded by the municipality and its taxpayers. However, that would be woefully insufficient to address any and all concerns regarding infrastructure at any given time. You could do a complete overhaul of the system, but we wouldn't have the fiscal capacity to be able to do it. So we do it a little bit at a time, generally when we have the need to do it, or in emergencies, which is the wrong time to do it, but that's when we really have to do it. So, to address the questions of any additional impact by any new development, especially larger types of developments that are being proposed or could be proposed, the ordinance has been in place now for a period of about 12 to 13 years. Some members of the council have been on this council. It is a ordinance that was state-of-the-art. As a matter of fact, it's resulted in a lot of complaints from people who got approval saying they're not going to be building because it costs too much to do to improve the infrastructure. So anybody that gets approvals and the engineer as well as DEP determines that those particular improvements can only be built as a result of increased capacity expansion or replacement of existing capacity, the way that ordinance is written, the cost of those additional hookups and improvements, it's not just a couple of dollars per unit, would be and would have to be paid, bonded, and provided for in advance by any applicant that gets the approvals. That's been in place now for about 12 to 15 years, and it has generally...
So that means the builder is taking on some liability with...
No, he's taking on the cost of improvement. In other words, if somebody, and again, hypothetically, if somebody's going to be building a building with 50 units, the engineer says, we don't have the capacity to service that. The additional capacity expansion and the work, the engineering work, the line work, the sewage work, the water main work has to be paid by the developer. It is now standard in mostly developed municipalities in New Jersey.
So let me ask you, with some of the leakage problems that we've had going on in Red Bank,
Some of what problems?
sewage
Leakage,
leakage,
okay.
and do all of them end up in the river, or just some of them end up in the river, or I mean, what is that? I mean, could just another pipe burst?
That's a different issue altogether. You're talking about...
Well, it's different. It is, but it's not, because as a resident, the whole infrastructure, which you all agree is really old. I mean, I don't want to see you bonding for an additional hundreds of thousands of dollars to fix a problem after it happens. I'm just wondering, you know, before it happens, before we add an extra toilet bowl to Red Bank. I mean, I've always known we had a problem from where I live in Red Bank, and I apologize, I never really thought that it could actually be going into the river. If I did, I would have been more vocal about it, but now to know that any sewage leaks or anything are ending up in the river that this whole town is built on, and the Red Bank Borough right behind your head is a picture of the river. I mean, that's a major concern. That's a major concern for me and for other people. And I just, when I hear all this building and talking, I don't really hear that addressed that much. And
it has to be addressed. It is addressed. I will give you an example without mentioning names. An approval was granted by one of the boards, I believe it was the zoning board, for a particular project on a major thoroughfare, and it is an increase in residential capacity was approved. My understanding is the building was stuck in neutral because the cost of in increasing the capacity and replacing the existing capacity is too high. That's because, we're enforcing the ordinance. If you can't provide the additional capacity to replace the old pipes, you're not going to get your construction permit. So we do enforce the ordinance. But a lot of
and we do not just wait for new building. Before we pave any road, we televise the lines underneath, and we determine whether that work has to be done. We have a bond ordinance that we approved tonight for East Bergen Place, and we need to do sewer work. We've done televising of the lines. Some are undersized for what we have now, and we need to address them. So before we pave it, we're going to make those improvements. And we've been doing that with every road program for the last 20 years. So we don't have, not all our pipes are old. Some are old and in great shape, and some are been lined just to make sure that there's no problems. And some are replaced as we go. So we have been working to upgrade our infrastructure incrementally as we go before we pave any roads. Now, when we find a leak, like dry weather flow or things, not every sanitary sewer leak gets to the river. It's only when the sanitary leak is near a crack in a store pipe. that's when it hits the river. And luckily, and usually you only find that when there's dry weather flow, or when you have to fill the pipe with dye and test it. And we were sure we had no dry weather flow, we were fine. And they still had some readings that they thought were coming from East Red Bank. We found out there were some cracks in the top of the pipe that wouldn't present and wouldn't drain until that pipe was filled. And we get these 100-year floods, you know, 100-year storm that happens. And so with the dye test, we found it and we fixed it. They're minor leaks.
Okay.
But, so it's not like we've been sitting on it. We've been doing it for 20 years.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate you knowing that I'm concerned about it and some other
Absolutely.
residents are. My next question is about the meter. Did you say if we want a check meter so we could water our lawns, that is going to be $1,500 to the residents? Is that what the price was?
No, the question by Ms. Viscomi was that what has happened to that particular option by the property owners, and the answer that was given by the administrator had a different spin based on the information we had last year. So all I'm saying is that last year, the proposal that I recall is that if somebody wanted to install a separate metering system for irrigation systems at the option of the property owner, the property owner would be given the option to do that. So
My question is just how much is that going to be?
again, we were told the figure of $1,500. But again, that's what was told to us last year. I sort of relied on that.
That's fine. I'm just asking. The other reason is I have New Jersey American Water, and I asked them about a meter. I don't, and they were going to charge me $3,000. I don't.
Yeah, the
And
number,
I do like to water my lawn. You know, unless there's a drought or something, I do like to keep my lawn green. That's also a prohibitive cost, $3,000. I mean, I don't know from New Jersey American Water, but would I have any option to hook up to Red Bank Water?
The only way we could, if you're their customer, you have to come to us 100% in order to hook up to Red Bank
What
Water.
would that be an option for me?
I would think so. I don't know. I have to look at the.
I can get back to you on it if you want. Or that. Then just one other question. As some of you know, I had a water leak, and I didn't know about it until 3 months later, and I called New Jersey American Water, and they looked over my history of my water bill, and they adjusted the cost. They didn't give me the full cost. I think they gave me like 50% of it, and they adjusted my cost. And I was a little bit upset that Red Bank wouldn't do that, and I called some other towns, and they do indeed do that. Is that something we could consider doing?
Well, not all towns do that, but with new meters, with our meters, when you have an excess flow, in the morning, when we come in, they'll see red flags in your account, and we'll contact you that you have a leak. We've done that, 60 customers already, I think 1 week, that they found, hey, we notify them they have excess flow, and sure enough, they had a leaky toilet or a garden hose running or something like that. We let them know within 24 hours with these new meters. And that's one of the reasons we want to get them all done and get an accurate accounting of what we're doing before we start that next phase, which is the sprinkler meters.
When did you say they're all going to be done?
Anyway, we just have these 600 that we're having a hard time getting into the locations. A couple of them have bad plumbing, but they have to do some plumbing fixtures so we can hook up to it. But most of them are just access problems, and we're working with that now, working with code enforcement and trying to get access.
Okay. All right, that's it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, John. Mr. Powers.
John Bowers, 866 Route 34, Colts Neck. I'd like to thank everybody on the council and the mayor for rehabilitation ordinance. I hope it helps Red Bank. I hope it helps Red Bank with their finances. And I would like to ask a favor of the council, or a suggestion of the council. and it deals with my favorite situation, my favorite thing, parking. When I came today, I came 5 minutes early, so it was 5 minutes before 6:30, and I couldn't get a parking space. And I ended up going over to Schwab parking. But I would like to...
I think you don't even...
Yes, yes. So, and there was nobody there. But the request is that when Count Basie's having a session or a program, that, and the council, and the borough is being utilized here, that Count Basie can't park
That
in
is
your
the
lot.
That parking was not because of Count Basie.
No, I know it was the policeman, but the man was there, and I'm just asking.
Yeah, I know, right,
They're-
there.
Well, no, they're there, and correct me if I'm wrong, Elaine, Count Basie provides staff to say that they aren't selling spaces on certain borough nights. So whether or not it's their show, that like we're leasing out the spaces, say they have a show tonight, whether if we have a council meeting, a planning board meeting, or zoning board meeting, they still provide staff to make sure no one is parking in these borough meetings. So you'll see them out there, whether we have a borough, a council meeting, or they're out there for their own nights. But we made sure, after I believe former Councilwoman Vernon brought up that people were parking on council meeting nights, we went back to Count Basie and said, on the days that are blacked out, that you can't come and sell our municipal lot, that you still provide staff to make sure that no one's parking there. So they're there both.
Well,
They're there to stop people from
all right,
parking
and then-
actually.
Tonight was a bit of a special exception.
I understand that, and as a follow-up, my friend Ben Forrester just told me a little while ago that he was over at Rite Aid a couple of nights ago and couldn't even get in the lot. And it wasn't because the place was busy, because most of the places were empty. It was because our friends over at Count Basie. So when this parking thing gets fixed, and I've spoken to the boss man over at Count Basie, they should come in with a little help financially. Thank you.
Ms. Zip.
Good evening, I'm Cindy Ziff from Clean Ocean Action. It's based out at Sandy Hook. It's 14 Hartshorn Drive. I'm here tonight, Mr. Mayor and Mr. Councilman, thank you very much for the kind words, but I'm here to bring kind words and really let you know that Red Bank has been doing an outstanding job on responding to the crisis in the Navesink River, and I'm so glad Cindy is here too, because she really helped start us off last year. It's just been a year that we've been working on this problem since the downgrade of the Navesink River by the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection because of the pollution issues. And we're talking about fecal contamination, so we're not talking about just all the fertilizers and things. We're talking about some very serious public health risk issues. And we worked with Mr. Sickles, and it really has been just a source of, I hope, of great pride to the council members of how Red Bank has responded. You're not only the first to start identifying the sources of the pollution, thanks to the dogs in part, but also the first to fix them. And there has been a dramatic improvement to the waters that are flushing from Red Bank, according to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. So already it's working, and you also are the first to pass the resolution, which is supporting the water quality monitoring program now that some citizen volunteers, some of them from Red Bank, and the entire watershed are participating in. And that water quality testing program will help address some of the issues that were raised by John earlier, which are where is it coming from and where are there problem infrastructure areas, because it hopefully will find small amounts of sewage that may be leaking so that before they go into a catastrophic crash and blow out the system, that we'll be able to get them earlier. So again, you have some great volunteers coming out every Wednesday, and the Public Works Department could not be more gracious or more helpful in supporting that effort and getting us ice that we need, because we need to get those samples on ice and get them down to Leeds Point, about 2 hours away, in time for them to do the testing. So every first Wednesday night, there's a meeting here of the Navesink River Municipalities Committee, which Cindy helped restart. And everybody talks about all the different things that are happening. And I have to tell you that Red Bank is spot on and always the first up with what has been done. And Eric has been the lead on that, and he's been at all the meetings and really championing the cause of cleaning up the water quality. I know many members of the council have been helpful as well. So I'm just here to thank you and thank you for the resolution and keep up the great work, and love to see Red Bank stay on the top as being first up and first supporting all the efforts. And to that end, I'm very excited to meet the superintendent and the school system, because what we really need to do to break the cycle of pollution is to get the kids to understand and have everybody be watershed mindful of everything that they do and how it may be or may not be contributing to water pollution. So we really would like to get into the schools in Red Bank, and maybe Red Bank will be the first district that we are invited and that has a large K through 12 engagement, because that's going to be the real pollution. I have no doubt we're going to get the sources of pollution. I have no doubt we're going to get that water quality improved. I have no doubt we're going to get that downgrade, upgrade again. But will it sustain the length of time? Will it sustain for future generations? And that's the next big battle. And I have a couple documents I'll leave here for members of council that are interested. But again, thank you so very much for your leadership, and keep up the great work.
Well, thank you for your resolution.
Cindy, I just wanted to thank you. As the chair of the Public Works Department, Cindy Burnham and Eric and I were out the morning that we were doing the testing, and your crew was just terrific to work with. I know Cliff has said an awful lot of great things about working with your team, and along with Bobby Holiday from our water department. It was really an amazing effort from the time the dogs came and sniffed to our ability to identify where the leaks were and get them remedied as quickly as possible. So,
I mean, super fast. I mean, no more how had they found the leak, then you guys brought the budget issues, approved the budget issues, got them out there, and fixed the sources.
It has been really a terrific collaborative effort, and I know Cliff and the team are really glad to work with you guys. So thank you again.
Thank you so very much. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Anybody else? If not,
Mr. Mayor, can I make a brief announcement?
Yeah, go
About
ahead.
the tax bills, thank you. Just very quickly, the tax bills I know have been delayed for the third quarter. The third quarter tax bills are now online. They're going to be mailed August 1st. The grace period's been extended to August 28th. And the reason for the delay was simply that we were waiting to hear officially that the school was going to reinvest the money that is coming in bringing in more teachers, so that it would not impact the taxes overall. And once we got the official word on that, we could finalize the tax bill, so those will be out momentarily. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have any closing issues? Okay. Any members of the public, based upon that report, have any questions? If not, I know we have a need to retire to executive session for contract negotiations. No public, no formal action or no action will be taken. And so we will just be retiring and then coming back for adjourning.